So, we all feel it. Thrift stores are getting busier, more expensive, and more competitive. And the easy, pretty, trendy items that everyone wants are getting harder to find. You can search longer and fight harder and spend more, or you can take a chance on the items that everybody else overlooks. Allow me to open up your mind. Hey everyone, welcome back to Reissued. If you're new here, my name is Andrew. Today we are reviving a past series here on my channel called DIY Diagnosis, where I go to the thrift store, report back with some finds that are interesting, that may not be for everybody, and share how I would make them look chic and elevated in a space. Some might need a little makeover, while others just need the right styling to make them work. And this time, rather than focusing on very specific items, we're talking about broader categories of items that I see a lot in the thrift store that I think are misunderstood or underappreciated. Many of these items are the gone but not forgotten trends of yesteryear that started in all the magazines and then moved down to West Elm and Pottery Barn and then into Target and Home Goods. And then they hit the thrift store where still no one wanted them because they were out of style. Yes, some of these trends were pretty unfortunate, but some of them I think deserve another go. So let's hit the thrift store and see how we might rescue some unexpected finds. Okay, so I popped into Goodwill and right away I came across this honey oak nightstand. I feel like honey oak has been on the chopping block for a long time now. People hate it, although I've also seen that there's like a resurgence where people are into it again. Oh my God, trends are crazy. But so many of these honey oak pieces actually have really nice lines. I like the kind of curved like 80s postmodern thing that we have going on here. I think that's really cool. Of course, you can sand this down and restain it entirely, or you can go on top with a gel stain. I've seen some people do that as well. You can also paint these. I'm not usually an advocate for this, but the benches that are in my conservatory were not in great condition and I needed a really good seal on them since there's gonna be plants sitting on them. So I painted them in this like olivey green enamel paint and I think they look fantastic. But with this piece here, I think it's in really good condition and so I would leave it exactly as it is and just style it right. So with that warm orangey kind of honey oak color, I think it's really important to pair it with other wood tones, especially like a dark walnut or like a chocolatey brown. I think that would be a great pairing. Or I think it looks fantastic with some nice greens or rusts or like a cool gray blue. The dining chairs that I reupholstered a couple months ago were in this color and I paired them with a really pretty blue-gray kind of velvet and I think it looks fantastic. I think the key thing here is to stay away from the things that made it feel really 90s. I'm thinking like pairing it with white and beige and like burgundy and like speckled beige granite. I find with so many items that were a part of a trend, if you can remove them from the adjacent elements that participated with them in that trend, they can take on a new life outside of that. All right, next item that I came across here are some TV trays. And up until recently, I definitely would have passed on these, but I see them all the time at the thrift store and they're really affordable. And we're bringing back the TV tray, baby. A couple weeks ago when I did my living room refresh, I mentioned that we do watch TV while sitting on the sofa and that a TV tray would be useful. So I transformed these ones that my mom thrifted. I sprayed them with a black enamel spray paint and put a little gold leaf detail around the border and I think they look fantastic. I think these TV trays would look really good with a solid, bold pop of color or with a custom iron-on wood veneer inlay. Although I think I'm gonna give that technique a rest for a while. But I think the key takeaway here is to remove the quintessential look. So many of these that I see are this like maple all over wood tone, or often they have the wood top with a painted base. I think that we wanna try to eliminate that recognizable look whenever possible and give them something outside of that. So again, a solid color and maybe a little extra detail on top would give these a new life outside of their TV tray existence. All right, next underrated item here that I saw so many times when I worked at the REISSUED is the dresser mirror. For a while, it was the thing to have a bedroom set that had a dresser that had a mirror on top, and so many customers would come in and buy the set and then leave the mirror behind. They would redonate that. They just wanted the dresser. And I get that, that's cool, but that means that we ended up with a lot of leftover dresser mirrors. Understandable because some of them were really ugly, but these ones that I came across at the REISSUED I think are quite beautiful. This one has a little bit of damage on the bottom, but it has a pretty wood inlay finish. I think sometimes we don't know what to do with these mirrors that are flat on the bottom, but a mirror like this would look so good over a mantle, or like in my conservatory, the mirror that I have there is curved at the top and straight at the bottom. I think it looks so nice over the banquette in that room. I think that this tall, skinny mirror for $10 would look so nice as a bathroom vanity mirror. Mirrors in bathrooms are one of those things that tend to look so generic because everyone gets the ones that belong in a bathroom. Pop a dresser mirror over the top of your vanity and it will look so much more unique, I promise. All right, next category here, the woodshop projects. When I was shopping at the REISSUED, I came across this little clock that is clearly handmade by somebody, as evidenced by the really basic clock handset that it has, as well as the little signature on the back. And I see items like this pop up a lot at the thrift store. These are things that look like someone made them in a woodworking class or like wood shop in high school. The mirror that I have in my kitchen, I think is from like the 70s wood shop era. I think that pieces like this don't belong in every space, but if you have the right space for it, they can really work. We're definitely moving into an era of people wanting items to be handcrafted and unique. And even though it might have been made by an amateur, it was still made by somebody and they put their love and whatever skill they had and their effort into it. And sometimes those pieces can turn out really pretty. So if you're looking for something in your room that has that kind of handmade and a little bit primitive quality, don't count these out. On that note, I would kind of broaden this category to handmade items in general. I'm thinking quilts and crocheted blankets and paintings. Just because something is not made by a famous artist or is not like everybody's thing in terms of color palette or skill level or whatever, I think that sometimes you can find some really unique pieces that are super affordable that may not be for everybody, but I think you always want a piece of your room to feel just like you and not for everybody. So I have a painting that's gonna hang over the circuit breaker in my hallway that I've had for a couple years. I think I got it for $10 at the REISSUED. It also had a Goodwill sticker on it, so it'd been through the whole thrifting circuit. It may not be for everybody, but it was handmade for someone at one time. It has a big note written by somebody on the back, and I think it's really cool, and it's an original painting by somebody. So it doesn't matter that it was cheap, it doesn't matter that nobody else wanted it. I wanted it, and it's gonna live in my house. One of the things that I love the most about thrifting is finding an item that's almost there. It doesn't need a huge transformation, it just needs a little boost to make it something that you're excited about. And honestly, that's kind of how I feel about water. Enter Ultima Replenisher, which is the sponsor of today's video. Ultima has become my little boost for turning plain, boring water into something that I'm actually excited about drinking. It has all 6 key electrolytes your body uses every day, with 0 sugar, 0 calories, 0 carbs, no artificial sweeteners, and low sodium. I've been really into the mocktail series lately. They have some really fun mocktail flavors. Today I'm drinking strawberry margarita, which is super refreshing. Hydration is a really important part of a healthy lifestyle. And lately I've been looking for ways to turn the things that I have to do into something that I want to do. So staying hydrated has never been more fun than it is with a little mocktail energy. Sometimes you don't need to totally reinvent something, you can just give it a little boost. So head to the link in the description down below to stay hydrated with Ultima Replenisher. And thank you so much to Ultima for sponsoring this video. All right, so my next recent discovery at the thrift store is what I'm calling the random metal crap aisle. I don't know that everyone's Goodwill organizes things this way, but my local Goodwill chain does. They tend to have like a random wood aisle and a random metal crap aisle. And the metal crap aisle is generally a place that I kind of skim and move past quickly. I found some good stuff there in the past, but it tends to be a lot of just like wire hanger things and like random trays and like cooking utensils and like weird stuff that I don't usually find that I need. However, I think that Matt is rubbing off on me and I see everything as a potential light fixture now. So I came across some pieces at the thrift store that I thought would be really cool for light fixtures. There was this little kind of bowl shaped wire structure that I think could be a really amazing lampshade. There were also these 2 matching baskets that I think could be really cool as a sconce. I would maybe cut a custom wood piece to go in the middle and then cover the outsides with shoji paper. I'm really into that technique now. I just made a lamp for my living room refresh, and I've seen so many people all over social media creating these little paper lantern kind of things out of wire materials, and I think the random metal crap aisle is a great place to start. Now, one important discovery that I made recently with that lamp that I made is the steel stick product that's like a 2-part epoxy putty that is steel, metal enriched or something. So I was able to use that as kind of a welding tool to build the structure, and that was a total game changer because with any of these things in the random metal crap aisle, you'd want to have some sort of way to connect them to the fixture, and using that putty would be a great way to affix something like this to a light fixture. Also on this aisle was this really cool like powder coated cobalt blue thing. I don't know exactly what this would be for, but I think this is a really nice accessory if you have kind of like, I don't know, a bit of mid-century style going on, or if you have some primary colors. It's not the vibe of my house personally, but I think this could be really cool in the right space. And the final item that I'll mention in this category is this like metal cylinder lantern thing that Matt picked up recently. Again, with the intention of making a lamp, which I love. I think he's thinking about using different papers in to kind of fill in and make it kind of like a mosaic geometric thing. I think it could be really cool. And so many of the things on this aisle are so affordable. So if you're looking to experiment with making something for the first time, or you want to try out a new technique, this can be a great place to get some framework to start with. Now, this little lantern thing is gonna carry us into our dead trends category. Again, these are the things that we saw everywhere that are now recognizable in the thrift store. I've seen a lot of content on short form socials about seeing like major trends like the Stanley Cup, the thing that everybody wanted, end up at the thrift store. And so it's got me thinking about what trends are gone and everyone considers them over that I think should stick around a little bit longer, we should revive. So the first of these is what I'm gonna call the lantern/terrarium trend. There's the classic kind of lantern shape like this one that I saw at Goodwill, but there's also a lot of these little terrarium things. They may be a lantern, they may be a terrarium. I guess the general category is geometric glass structures. So I actually picked up this little terrarium thing at Goodwill a couple weeks ago. Again, I remember when these were like all over West Elm, everyone had these, and why did we let this go? I think this is actually quite beautiful. I think that when we look at trends, if you break them down to the structure of quality materials and classic clean lines and geometric shapes, I feel like you can't go wrong with that. Like, let's hold on to that. Now, in terms of reinventing these, I don't know that they need too much reinvention, but I think that some of these lanterns could look really good with something else placed inside them. I'm thinking like a globe light fixture or possibly another glass piece that has kind of a different tone or transparency. I think that layering effect could be really cool. You could also add a kind of washi paper or faux stained glass effect to these. Or, as I mentioned earlier, styling them outside of their trend companions is a big one. So I would probably place these somewhere away from my 2021 trends, my white subway tile, my floating shelves. I feel like those would really date these. I would maybe pair these with some dark moody colors and more Victorian accents, something that's less in that 2021 vein. Another trend from that era that I see so much at the thrift store is rattan. Remember when everyone wanted the like boho, macrame, plant garden kind of vibe? I feel like a lot of people went through that phase. I was never into that personally, but that was such a thing. And even though that era has kind of passed, it does not mean that rattan is out. I think an important question to ask yourself when it comes to certain trends that are gone, whether it be farmhouse or boho or 2021 geometric, is what actually suits you? What do you actually love? So I think for some people, boho really fits who they are, how they live, where they live. If you're in like Florida, Hawaii, tropical locations, if that's a part of your story and your heritage, hold on to that, keep loving that. I've always loved the geometric things, so that makes sense for me, right? Another trickle-down trend that I see a lot in the thrift store are wood candlesticks, these kind of like sculptural, turned, curvy things. I think these can really work with the right finish. So these ones that have the white, chippy, modern farmhouse paint, I don't think have aged that well, but with ones that are classic wood, especially rich, dark wood tones, I think that's timeless and that's gonna last forever. So I think sometimes with these dead trends, it's a good idea to consider like, what is the most classic version of a trend? Unpainted natural rattan has been a thing over and over and over again. Same with natural turned curvy wood. That look has been around so many times, and I think it would be a mistake to put that in the discarded trends bin. All right, before we move into our final category here, I wanted to do a lightning round of a couple of items that I saw at the thrift store on this trip that I wasn't really sure how I felt about. I kind of liked them, but they also could be kind of awful, and I wanna know what you think. Okay, first up is this 2-tier chandelier lamp at Goodwill. This one was $25. It was missing a couple of its little glass crystal things, which was kind of a bummer, but I thought this, even though it had that 90s brass look and possibly is really tacky, is this tacky 80s, 90s? I don't know. But I thought the 2-tier nature of this and the shape of the crystals was kind of interesting. I don't know. Let me know what you think about this one. Am I crazy for liking this a little bit? My next questionable find was this floor chair for $10. So many chairs like this feel like a dorm room gamer kind of chair, but something about this one felt a little bit more vintage and elevated, and I wondered if it would be possible maybe to put legs on this or to leave it as like a chic floor chair. Is that crazy? I think it would need reupholstery, but I don't know. Something about this spoke to me. And finally, there was this like super oversized pocket watch for $10. I think that play with proportions and oversized kind of cartoony things is really big in fashion lately. And I never really would have taken this seriously if it were not like actual metal and quite heavy. Like the quality materials are there. I don't know how I feel about the print job on the letters. I feel like I maybe would try to switch that out, but is this cool at all? I didn't have a place for it, but I think this could be cool somewhere, right? And this kooky, oversized pocket watch is gonna bring us into our final category of items, which I'm calling like the campy, whimsical category. So the whole whimsical thing is something that we've seen so much in the last couple of years. Like, it's a table, but it's also corn. Or like little fairy mushrooms everywhere. And yeah, I kinda hate that, but I did come across a couple of items that made me question my stance on that. The first were these little cacti margarita glasses. I found myself kind of inexplicably drawn to these, and I was trying to think about why, and it came down to a couple of things. First of all, I think, again, quality materials really make a difference here. If these were plastic, like, hell no, stay away. But these are glass and they're kind of campy and funny. And there's also a relationship between the kooky design element and the function of the item. Like, these are a margarita glass, so there's kind of like a Mexican thing going on, which then makes sense with the cacti. Do you see what I mean? I think that if this kind of tealy color was within your color palette for your home, these could be really fun. And the other item that I saw in this category was this $10 birdcage lamp at the REISSUED store. I don't like this too much as is. I think I would maybe replace the light bulb itself with a nice globe. When in doubt, add a globe. That's what I always say. But yeah, there's a nice metal structure, and there seems to be some sort of relationship between the hanging birdcage element and the hanging light element, so it kind of makes sense. I think y'all might feel like I'm going off the deep end here, but I've mentioned in recent thrifting videos how I think it's super important to infuse your home with things that feel kind of quirky and unique and maybe a tiny bit tacky, as long as they feel like you. And so even though neither of these items would work for me, I feel like they could actually be really chic for someone. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. This is a bit different from what I've done with DIY diagnosis in the past. Usually it's been more about how to transform items, but I think so many items that we see don't need transformation. They just need the right eye and the right vision and the right curation to make them feel elevated. So hopefully this gave you some good ideas, and maybe you can see these items differently when you inevitably see them show up in the thrift store. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, be sure to like this video, hype this video. If you want to see more of my style and home renovation, be sure that you're subscribed. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.